Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Preeti Kaur. Coming up in the next 1 hour. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to leave on a 5-nation tour of the global south on Wednesday. It will be the longest foreign visit by him in over a decade. Quad leaders condemn Pahalgam terror attack, call for perpetrators, organisers and financiers to be brought to justice. Launch Quad Critical Minerals Initiative. Key initiatives announced to strengthen maritime and transnational security across Indo-Pacific. India's External Affairs Minister holds bilateral meetings with US and Australian counterparts on the sidelines of the Quad Foreign Ministers meet. Also holds productive conversation on advancing India-US defence partnership with US Secretary of Defence Pete Hegseth. US Senate narrowly passes Trump's ambitious One Big Beautiful Bill Act after J.D. Vance's tie-breaking vote. Trump praises it as transformative win. Republicans remain divided on key provisions. US President Trump announces Israel agrees on terms for a 60-day ceasefire deal in Gaza, warns Hamas to accept before conditions worsen. Russian President Putin holds telephonic conversation with French counterpart in first talks since 2022. Talks focus on Iran and Ukraine conflict. Macron agrees to talk with Putin again in the near future. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar held a very productive meeting of Quad foreign ministers in Washington, D.C. The leaders discussed how to make Quad more focused and impactful on contemporary opportunities and challenges. Dr. S. Jaishankar said that today's gathering will strengthen strategic stability in the Indo-Pacific and keep it free and open. Quad foreign ministers condemned unequivocally all acts of terrorism and violent extremism in all its forms and manifestations, including cross-border terrorism. In a joint statement issued by US, India, Australia and Japan, the leaders renewed their commitment to counter-terrorism cooperation. The leaders condemned in the strongest terms the Pahalgam terrorist attack, calling for the perpetrators, organisers and financiers of this reprehensible act to be brought to justice without any delay. The leaders also urged all UN member states, in accordance with their obligations under international law and relevant UN SCRs, to cooperate actively with all relevant authorities in this regard. The ministers also announced key initiatives to strengthen maritime and transnational security, economic prosperity and security, critical and emerging technology, and support humanitarian assistance and emergency response across the region. They also announced the launch of the Quad Critical Minerals Initiative, an ambitious expansion of our partnership to strengthen economic security and collective resilience by collaborating on securing and diversifying the critical mineral supply chains. This new flagship initiative, alongside the high-impact programs and outcomes the Quad is realizing, will enable the 4 countries to bring economic opportunity and prosperity to the people and the region. On the sidelines of the Quad foreign ministers meeting, Dr. S. Jaishankar met Secretary of Defence Pete Hegseth in Washington, D.C. The two leaders had a productive conversation on advancing the India-US defence partnership, building on growing convergences of interests, capabilities and responsibilities.
I believe that our defence partnership is today truly one of the most consequential pillars of the relationship. It's not built merely on shared interests, but we believe really deepening convergence and of capabilities, of responsibilities, and what we do in the Indo-Pacific, we believe is absolutely crucial to its strategic stability. The world is a complicated place, I think perhaps growing in its complexity, and certainly our partnership and the contribution that we can make together, I think would be of immense importance, not just for us, I think, but for the larger region, I would even argue for the world.
Then came a meeting with the U.S. counterpart, Secretary of State Marco Rubio. They discussed the bilateral partnership, including trade, security, critical technologies, connectivity, energy and mobility, shared perspectives on regional and global developments. The External Affairs Minister also held a useful conversation with U.S. Secretary of Energy, Chris Wright. Dr. S. Jaishankar spoke about the energy transformation underway in India and also the opportunities for deeper India-US energy partnership. Dr. S. Jaishankar also got the opportunity to meet his Australian counterpart, Penny Wong. Their discussions were reflective of the trust and comfort of our comprehensive strategic partnership. Dr. S. Jaishankar said that he looks forward to welcoming Wong in India.
We marked the 5th anniversary of our comprehensive strategic partnership. We are very pleased to have Richard Marles over on that occasion. Our Prime Ministers met recently in Canada on the sidelines of the G7 outreach. That was a very good meeting. When I look at relationships which are both important and comfortable for us today, we've taken it to a level where if there's any issue, we immediately reach out to each other. We are also, I think, today trusting enough of each other that we discuss a lot of other issues, the state of the world. In many ways, that tells you really what the quality of our ties is about.
Earlier, Dr. S. Jaishankar also met his Japanese counterpart, Takeshi Iwaya, and held comprehensive discussions on infrastructure, investment and mobility. The two leaders also exchanged views on deepening the Quad engagement for a free and open Indo-Pacific. Dr. S. Jaishankar said the special strategic and global partnership between India and Japan continues to deepen and diversify. All right, our correspondent Saurabh Shukla is joining us from Washington. Saurabh, good morning. Get us a sense of how do you evaluate the engagements Dr. S. Jaishankar had with regard to the Quad leaders and also the bilaterals on the sideline of the Quad discussions?
Well, Preeti, I would say that Dr. Jaishankar's visit came at a very critical time when not only Quad was looking for a more focused agenda, also from India's standpoint, India's concerns on Pakistan-sponsored terrorism was something which the global leaders had to, be appraised about, especially the Quad foreign ministers. And I must say that behind the scenes, a lot of deft diplomacy happened ahead of this meeting. Also during this meeting, External Affairs Minister Jaishankar made it very clear that the perpetrators of terrorism have to be named, and even their finances and backers have to be named. And that's the reason why what you saw, the very strong joint statement that came out clearly mentioned that Quad not only condemned Pahalgam attacks, but it also went beyond it. So what India's concerns were, I would say, were articulated very well, and the end result was very good. The other part, I would say, is the critical mineral initiative. That's very, very important because, again, that's a veiled reference to also China trying to hegemonize this critical area as well, which the Quad members want to ensure that they have an equitable distribution and they also have a play, because critical minerals will define the way the global economy will be determined by these critical minerals, and certainly Beijing has been trying to corner it, and obviously it has a large source itself. So
Saurabh, I'll interrupt you here. Yes, I'll interrupt you here.
Will help countries like India. Yeah.
All right, Saurabh, I'll interrupt you here. At present, we are getting the latest. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has embarked on a crucial 8-day, 5-nation visit from today. Now, this is the longest foreign visit by him in over a decade. Prime Minister Narendra Modi here in the national capital, embarking on a 5-nation tour to Ghana, Trinidad and Tobago, Argentina, Brazil and Namibia. This is the latest we're getting for you from the national capital, where the Prime Minister is leaving for a 5-nation tour of the global south. This is the longest foreign visit by him in over a decade. The extensive diplomatic outreach will see him travel to Ghana, Trinidad and Tobago, Argentina, Brazil and Namibia from 2nd to 9th of July. Now, these 5 countries constitute the members of the Global South. Also, the Prime Minister has given a departure statement talking of his expectations from the visit. Up on your screens, we will have the gist of the departure statement at the invitation of President His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. I will visit Ghana on 2nd and 3rd of July. Ghana is a valued partner in the Global South and plays an important role in the African Union and the economic community of West African states. This is the departure statement which the Prime Minister gave just prior to his departure. The Prime Minister says that he looks forward to the exchanges aimed at further deepening our historical ties and opening up new windows of cooperation, including in the area of investment, energy, health, security, capacity building and development partnership. So this was the departure statement, part of the departure statement which the Prime Minister gave prior to his departure. The Prime Minister has embarked on a 5-nation tour to the Global South from 2nd to 9th of July. We'll keep you updated. Meanwhile, we'll turn focus to the other top story we are tracking at this hour. We will be getting you more on that, but at present our correspondent Saurabh Shukla is there with us, and he was telling us more about the engagements of Dr. S. Jaishankar with the Quad leaders and also the bilaterals on the sidelines of the Quad discussions. Saurabh, please continue.
Yes. So as I was saying, the terrorism was clearly the main focus, whether it was the meeting with the Quad foreign ministers. When he met Marco Rubio, the US Secretary of State, and Pete Hegseth, who is the US Defense Secretary. Clearly, while India's relationship with the US is broad-based, India expected that as a friend and a key, US as a key friend should support India in its quest to not only, go all out to tackle the scourge of terrorism, but the other big issue, if you ask me, was the recognition by the Quad leaders here, the Quad foreign minister, was India's right to respond as it deems fit. So that's again a major, I would say, a step forward where India's right to not only retaliate but also to do it in the future, because India set a new red line post Operation Sindoor, and that was accepted by the Quad foreign minister, that India reserves the right to deal with the scourge of terrorism in a manner in which deals fit. So that also puts at bay all the naysayers who were creating different kind of theories around it. And I think when it comes to terrorism, India's core concerns were recognized by these Quad leaders, and the joint statement was clearly a manifestation of that. Preeti?
All right, Saurabh, also during the bilaterals which the minister had with the Defense Secretary, Secretary of Defense and also Secretary of State in the US, get us more on that as well. And also, do we see any progress being made on the FTA between the two countries?
Well, that's a great question. I would say that the Indian interlocutors who are negotiating the trade agreement between US and India, I'm told that's at a final stage, so to say. In fact, the Indian negotiator had extended their trip here in Washington DC, and the whole idea was that some of the sticking points should be removed. I think there has been a talk of some give and take. Obviously, I don't want to get into the specifics of this because the negotiation is a crucial stage, but sources telling me both from the Indian side and also here from the US side, that they are very hopeful that this trade agreement will be stitched before the deadline, and also the core concerns of, as friends and allies, they've also decided that they will agree to disagree on certain things, but the core concerns of each other will be addressed by this trade agreement. This is what I'm getting a sense of here. But as I say, till the time they announce it formally, it will be, I'm not like to prejudge the outcomes at this stage. Preeti.
All right, Saurabh. Thank you for joining in with those details. While Dr. S. Jaishankar was in Washington, India's Defence Minister Rajnath Singh too held a telephonic conversation with his US counterpart Pete Hegseth on Tuesday. Both the leaders held excellent discussions to review the ongoing and new initiatives to further deepen India-US defence partnership and also strengthen cooperation and capacity building. Issues covered were long-term cooperation in the defence sector, including training and military exchanges and expanding the industry collaboration. Rajnath Singh conveyed his deep appreciation for the unwavering support extended by the US to India in its fight against terrorism. Hegseth invited Rajnath Singh to the US for an in-person meeting to take the bilateral defence partnership forward, on which the Indian leader said that he is looking forward to a meeting at an early date. This was their third telephonic conversation since January this year, when Mr. Pete Hegseth was confirmed as US Secretary of Defence. As we told you, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has embarked on his crucial 8-day, 5-nation visit. This is the longest foreign visit by him in over a decade. The extensive diplomatic outreach will see him travel to Ghana, Trinidad and Tobago, Argentina, Brazil and Namibia. All are the members of Global South. Therefore, the visits will have a strong focus on strengthening India's partnership in the Global South. The first stop would be Ghana, which will be the first such visit by an Indian Prime Minister to the West African country in 3 decades. DD India's correspondent Tapas Bhattacharya gives us details from Accra.
India and Ghana share warm, time-tested ties built on common democratic values and a shared vision for development. Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to Ghana from July 2nd to 3rd is not just symbolic, it's a strategic move to reinforce South-South cooperation. This is the first high-level visit by an Indian Prime Minister in 30 years, signaling a renewed focus on Africa.
There will be delegation-level talks, during which the bilateral relations will be reviewed and also discuss various ways to strengthen and deepen bilateral relations. Honorable Prime Minister will have a one-on-one meeting with his counterpart. Then there will be a banquet dinner in honor of Honorable Prime Minister. The next day, Prime Minister will be addressing the Parliament, and he also will be interacting with the Indian community there, which is about 15,000 in number.
Trade and investment and development cooperation are the key pillars of India-Ghana relations. Leaders from both nations are expected to explore new areas for collaboration with a strong focus on economic growth and inclusive partnership. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will also address Ghana's parliament in this trip.
During the visit, there will be few focus items. Will be agriculture, where the Ghanaian leader, the president, is keen to engage with India. He is also keen on the vaccine development, creating a vaccine hub in Ghana, for not just Ghana, but also the West Africa context. Defense cooperation will become an important item on the agenda, and the critical minerals and the digital public infrastructure.
Prime Minister Modi's visit aims to elevate bilateral cooperation across strategic sectors and reaffirm India's commitment to the Global South. The visit of Prime Minister Narendra Modi aims to deepen ties across key sectors including economy, energy, defense and development cooperation, marking a significant diplomatic push in Ghana and a common vision for both India and Ghana for the Global South. With camera person Rakesh, this is Tapas Bhattacharya for DD India from Accra, Ghana.
As we told you, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has embarked on a significant 5-nation tour. This tour will extend from 2nd to 9th of July, with Ghana being his first stop. In the run-up to the visit, India's High Commissioner to Ghana, Manish Gupta, highlighted the growing strength of India-Ghana relations. He noted that Ghana remains a top destination for Indian investors, with nearly 900 projects set up over the last 2 decades. Bilateral trade has also crossed the $3 billion mark, making India one of Ghana's leading trade partners. DD India's Tapas Bhattacharya gets us more.
Joining me is India's High Commission to Ghana, Manish Gupta, to talk about Prime Minister Narendra Modi's five-nation tour, and the first stop is in Ghana. Sir, how do you see Prime Minister's visit and how that is expected to be a game changer for both countries?
It's a great privilege that Honorable Prime Minister is going to visit Ghana for the first time. So this is going to be a defining moment for this partnership. India-Ghana ties that are deep-rooted with a very rich historical legacy, and especially in West Africa, Ghana has been a long-standing partner. The energy on the streets here, especially with the Indian community, that everybody is so excited with the visit.
What are the key areas where you believe that both countries can work there?
Between India and Ghana, we have extensive complementarities between our two economies. Ghana is quite rich in natural and mining resources. On our part, we bring strong capabilities in the manufacturing, IT, technical service sectors, which this country needs the most. Between India and Ghana, one thing you will realize, as countries of the global south, we have young demographics, and secondly, tech is going to play a big role as we shape our economies for the future.
People have been talking about Ghana becoming the next oil exporter. How do you see India can take advantage of that?
Ghana is decent oil and gas resources. In fact, oil commercial production started way back in 2008. So Ghana is already exporting a lot of oil and gas. So there, I think it offers us an opportunity to go enter into this lithium mining sector, and where we can craft win-win outcomes for both the sides.
There's a lot of investment from India in Ghana. Could you share some of the details? What is the amount that we have been talking about, and if we can have more such investment?
In a broad perspective, the Indian companies have invested close to $2 billion in this country in over 900 projects, spanning the areas of agriculture, manufacturing, IT, steel, pharmaceutical sector, to name a select few. And these have been very ably complemented by the government-to-government development cooperation framework. The Indian government has invested close to another $1 billion through grants, lines of credit, and buyer's credit program.
If there is any point, anything that you believe that, with Prime Minister Modi's visit will get a massive boost?
With Honorable Prime Minister's visit, I am so confident that is going to open a new chapter into India-Ghana ties. A new government has assumed power under President Mahama in January. So at the very beginning of his term, we are establishing the highest level political contacts.
Prime Minister Modi's visit in Ghana is expected to be a game changer when it comes to both countries, and expected to be massive. It will give a massive boost to the South-South cooperation and for the relationship between India and Ghana. With camera person Rakesh, this is Tapush Bhattacharya for DD India from Accra, Ghana.
The Indian diaspora continues to play a vital role in strengthening ties between India and Ghana. In a heartening example, Rajendra Mishra, Director, Alma Medical Laboratory, is a dedicated member of the Indian community in Ghana. He has taken it upon himself to provide medical assistance to local communities, reflecting the spirit of service that defines India's global outreach. Mishra says the people of Ghana are excited to welcome Prime Minister Modi and are optimistic about deeper collaboration with India in healthcare and beyond. We get you this ground report from Accra.
Joining me is Rajendra Mishra, Indian diaspora member who has been working here in Ghana for long, and especially when it comes to medical infrastructure. Sir, tell us how you guys are helping. India is helping Ghana in this field.
See, India, we are Indian. We have our diagnostic center here. We are helping Ghanaians a lot, and Ghanaians are also, they are very cool. They are helping us a lot, but they need a lot of infrastructure. They need a lot of medical help in their remote area. In the city, we have some good hospitals, but in the remote area, we don't have any good hospital. So Indian government can help them a lot to do health facility better in the remote area. There are hospitals in the remote area, in the building, and all the technology.
Are they looking forward to Prime Minister's visit? I mean, I know a lot of people are actually talking about Prime Minister Modi. They believe that he can do a lot for Ghana.
Definitely, Ghanaians are very excited. Even we heard this news from Ghanaians. Our Prime Minister is coming. They are very excited. They are waiting a lot of things that Prime Minister will announce in the infrastructure, in there something like, let's see, technology, food technology, a lot of things, agriculture. Agriculture is very back here. So they can also help in the agriculture. See, in India, advance in the medical agriculture. So they are expecting a lot of things from Indian Prime Minister to announce, and they can do the tie-up, and they could do a lot of things.
You are a member of Indian diaspora. How excited you are and your community to welcome Prime Minister Modi?
See, here, like as a member, we always available for our community. Anytime if we have any call that this person have problem, we send our team. Sometimes we go ourselves to help them to hospitalize in medication, and we have some team of the doctors. Doctors go there to help them.
Right.
To all our Indian community and some Ghanaians also.
That's the Indian diaspora, helping the people in Ghana and making sure that India's name is called by many. They've been appreciated here, and that's the best part of Indian diaspora. Wherever they go, they make the place their own. And with Prime Minister Narendra Modi coming here, it's a huge opportunity for them to once again put forth their community here, and at the same time looking forward to welcoming Prime Minister Modi in Accra, Ghana. With Campus of Rockets, this is Tapush Bhattacharya for GD India from Accra, Ghana.
In the heart of Accra stands the Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park, and it is a tribute to Ghana's founding father and its first president, Dr. Kwame. Clad in Italian marble and crowned with a black star of unity, the monument stands as a powerful symbol of Ghana's journey to freedom and its enduring legacy. DD India's Tapas Bhattacharya reports.
I'm in Accra city, the capital of Ghana, and here Prime Minister Narendra Modi will start his 5-nation tour. This is the first stop, Ghana, and here at this Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park, I am here. It's a place where Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be coming. This is the place dedicated to the first president of Ghana, and I have with me Dr. Collins, the executive director of this particular memorial park. Sir, Prime Minister Modi is coming here. It's an excitement for you also that, the first president, the memorial park, and our own Prime Minister from India is coming here. How do you feel?
We feel very great. We feel very great. India and Ghana have shared very rich history together. We have all been partners in the struggle for colonial liberation or liberation from colonial rule. And so it's an amazing time for us to receive the Prime Minister. We are grateful. We are looking forward to seeing him, and we'll be here waiting for him.
Right. Also, sir, this is the place where the first president of Ghana was buried along with his wife, and this particular place looks like an upside, sword. To tell me the exact meaning of this, and how does that signify this current scenario in Ghana?
So this symbol actually shows two things. It depicts two things. One is the sword. Sword turned upside down. Now, sword turned upside down means peace. If the sword is raised up, you are at war, but when it's turned upside down, it is peace. And so he stands for peace. He has always been a peaceful man. And then the second one is a tree, a truncated tree. If you look at it, you see that it kind of looks like a tree. At the bottom looks like, the roots. Right. And then at the top is kind of truncated. It means that Kwame Nkrumah started something really powerful. Along the way, he was cut off just like a tree. And so we use this to remember all the beautiful things that he started, but which were cut off because he couldn't, yeah.
Right. Also, sir, both India and Ghana shared a lot of values, a lot of history. Both were under British colonial rule. Now both want to grow together. How do you see India's role in helping Ghana become a developed country, especially when it comes to the West Africa and the African region?
India has been a very powerful ally to the country for many years. Since independence, it has contributed immensely in terms of technology, in terms of architecture, in terms of a lot of other things. We already, in fact, the very idea that we have our presidency, in other words, the official office of our president has been designed and built by India. That shows the extent of the connections that we have between the two people. So I think that would India help us? Absolutely. They've been fantastic so far, and we're just looking forward to having more of India's involvement in our political and economic life.
Appreciate your time. So that was the executive director of this particular National Memorial Park, stating that India and Ghana shared values, and they are looking forward to going ahead in the future together. With Cow Rockets, this is Taposh Bhattacharya for DD India.
All right, so that sums up the expectations from Prime Minister's visit to Ghana. We'll keep you updated. Up next, we're heading for a short break. But after the break, ahead in the bulletin, we get you a quick roundup of the changes in weather pattern in India. Is soil conservation limited to farms and fields? Stay with us as we tell you how an Indian teen cycles around the world, highlighting soil health. Jammu and Kashmir Governor Manoj Sinha flags off the first batch of pilgrims for the Sri Amarnath Yatra.
Can the US launch a bombing campaign against Iran? The Philippines vessel suffered structural damage. The saga of child sexual abuse is the United States China's debt trap strategy. Truth is stranger than fiction. But sometimes hard to uncover. Trust us to tell the truth, unadulterated and pure, of every story that matters to you. You read between the lines, cut the clutter, and connect the dots to get you the full picture. Watch Connecting the Dots at these times with me, only on DD India.
Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD Indian News Hour. Let's get to weather updates now. A widespread spell of heavy to very heavy rainfall is set to sweep across large swathes of India over the next 6 to 7 days, with weathermen flagging heightened flood risk in central and northern India. The Himalayan province of Himachal Pradesh is witnessing intense monsoon activity for the past 3 days, leading to multiple incidents of cloudbursts, flash floods and landslides, resulting in huge loss of life and property. However, today the intensity of monsoon is subdued and there are no reports of fresh rains from any part of the state. But for the worst hit district of Mandi, news is less comforting, even as Met Department today has issued warning of orange alert indicating heavy rainfall. Muskan Chaudhary is joining us from Shimla. Muskan, good morning. We've told a broad outline of the weather forecast by the IMD, but you're there in Shimla. Tell us, how has the day begun?
Pretty after the 3 days of continuous rainfall, the spell of rain has finally stopped since yesterday, which has brought relief to the people of the state. And if I'm talking about yesterday was no less than a nightmare for people, especially in Monday, where there was incident of cloudburst. And in that incident, 5 lives have been lost, 15 people are still missing, and more than 100 people have been rescued since yesterday. NDRF, SDRF team are still deployed in the district and they are doing their best to rescue the people. And talking about today, the weather is really good. It has started with a little cloudy but sunny, but it has been a very terrific day yesterday, especially for the people of Mandi. Today, the IMD department has issued a yellow alert for rain in Kullu, Mandi and Kangra. And Shimla will also receive a lighter rain during this period of time.
All right, Muskan, thank you so much for joining in with those updates from Shimla. And shifting to the escalating heat crisis across Europe, an unprecedented early summer surge in temperatures is impacting the continent. Following intense heat in southern Europe, the wave has moved northwards, triggering Paris's first red alert since 2018. Similar warnings have been issued in Belgium, Switzerland and Germany. Officials emphasize on extra care for vulnerable groups, as experts describe the heat as a dangerous silent killer. In Paris, authorities have limited public gatherings, extended park hours overnight and opened cooling centers. Around 2,000 schools nationwide were closed early on Tuesday due to overheating and poor ventilation. Residents in Lille and Bordeaux sought relief under shaded areas and mist sprays as temperatures climbed beyond 40 degrees Celsius. Notable landmarks including the Eiffel Tower and Brussels Atomium shut down amid northern Europe's 37 degrees temperature. Across the United Kingdom, dried up reservoirs pushed people towards rivers and lakes for relief. Swimmers took to the Cherwell River as the mercury topped 30 degrees Celsius. Health advisories have also been issued in Spain, Italy, Portugal and the Netherlands. The United Nations described these conditions as exceptional, more typical of late summer. Scientists continue to attribute these extremes to fossil fuel-driven climate change. In northern Italy's Turin, locals found respite in public sprinklers and fountains. Children enjoyed water jets while others fanned themselves amid the 40 degrees heat. The frequency of such severe weather events is raising concerns and calls for sustained climate policies. This heat wave is expected to linger over southern Europe until at least Wednesday. Meanwhile, in Germany, workers in construction, roofing and street vending faced intense heat, nearly 37 degrees Celsius. Roofers relied on regular breaks and water buckets, while Berlin's currywurst vendors adapted their schedules and used cold storage facilities. Forecasts predict temperatures may soar to 40 degrees Celsius in some German regions. Getting you other updates now, soil degradation poses a significant threat to Indonesia's rich and fertile land. An Indian activist, Sahil Jha, from the Save Soil movement is raising awareness about the issue through a cross-country tour in the Southeast Asian country. Jha, a passionate change maker, is dedicated towards raising awareness about soil degradation, an urgent global crisis threatening food security and biodiversity. The movement is calling for governments to adopt policies that increase organic content in soil to at least 3 to 6%. That is the minimum need for soil to remain alive and productive. As he concludes his Indonesia tour, Jha leaves behind an urgent call to protect the very ground we all stand on.
We've signed an MOU with the Safe Soil movement and UGM University in Yogyakarta, and more than that, we have tried to make soil health a very famous topic so that there is a policy level impactful action can come in this beautiful nation. The nutrition in the soil is depleting, and as a consequence, the food that comes out from it does not have nutrients. We have to do something in a very big way to save it.
The first batch of Kailash Mansarovar Yatra 2025 pilgrims successfully returned to Gangtok after completing their sacred pilgrimage to Mount Kailash and Mansarovar. The pilgrims expressed their gratitude and happiness, feeling blessed for completing the yatra under the care of liaison officer and the organizing teams. They thanked the government for providing them with a comfortable stay, warm hospitality and nutritious sattvic meals. All yatris were presented with yatra completion certificates by the ACS Tourism Department. The first batch yatris will be returning to their respective states today, carrying cherished memories of their sacred pilgrimage and the warmth of Sikkim's hospitality. Jammu and Kashmir Lieutenant Governor Manoj Sinha flagged off the first batch of pilgrims for the Sri Amarnath Yatra. Before the flag-off, Lieutenant General Sinha offered prayers at the Yatri Niwas base camp in Jammu. The Amarnath Yatra is being conducted through the Baltal and Pahalgam routes. The Jammu-Srinagar highway is a key route for thousands of pilgrims heading to the shrine. The 40-day-long Sri Amarnath Yatra 2025, culminating on August 9th, sees lakhs of devotees trek through the Himalayan terrain to pay obeisance to the holy cave shrine in Anantnag district of South Kashmir. Our Attack correspondent Ankush Sharma joins us from Jammu. Ankush, Amarnath Yatra has officially begun. Get us more as to what are the special arrangements that have been made for the comfort of the Yatris and to ensure their safety and security as well.
Well, amid rain and cloudy skies, today, this morning, the Amarnath Yatra commenced from Bhagwati Nagar, Jammu to Sri Amarnath Yatra, and Lieutenant Governor Manoj Sinha of Jammu and Kashmir flagged off this Yatra. Around 5,892 pilgrims and 310 total number of vehicles left for Amarnath Yatra, and all the security arrangements have been ensured by the administration and the government of Jammu Jammu and Kashmir. The process of this yatra, the langar services en route the yatra have been ensured by the administration, and most importantly, the security arrangements have been ensured by the administration of Jammu and Kashmir, because we have seen how the situation is going on right now, and that is why the multiple number of security personnel have been deployed to ensure the smooth process of this yatra. Around 3,31,000 pilgrims registered successfully till now for this yatra, and you can see how much and awaited this yatra, and how much sacred yatra is it. And around 3,403 pilgrims will follow the Pahalgam route, and the remaining will proceed from Baltal route. I want to mention here the Pahalgam route, the overall distance is 48 kilometers, and the Baltal route distance is around 14 kilometers. So for the smooth process of this yatra, the administration is continuously asking people, and also there is rain and cloudy weather today, and the administration already issued an advisory for the yatris that how to carry warm clothes with them, and keep updated themselves in terms of weather also.
All right, Ankush, thank you for joining in with those updates from Jammu. That was our correspondent, Ankush, joining us from Jammu and telling us more about the elaborate arrangements that have been made to ensure the comfort and security of the Amarnath Yatris. Up next, waiting for a short break. You're watching DD India News Hour, but after the break, India heads into the second test against England, ICE maiden test win. We get you all the highlights and hits and misses from the Wimbledon court.
Jharkhand will mesmerize you with majestic nature, rich heritage and colorful culture.
Hello. Johar. It fits perfectly.
Thank you.
Full workout हो गया.
Ready?
Postcards from Jharkhand on National Geographic.
Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD India News Hour. U.S. Senate Republicans passed President Donald Trump's massive tax and spending bill on Tuesday by the narrowest of margins. The legislation now heads to the House of Representatives for possible final approval, though a handful of Republicans there have already voiced opposition to some of the Senate provisions. Trump wants to sign it into law by 4th of July Independence Day holiday, and House Speaker Mike Johnson said in a statement that he aimed to meet that deadline. The Senate passed the measure in a 51-50 vote, with Vice President J.D. Vance breaking a tie after 3 Republicans, Tom Tillis of North Carolina, Susan Collins of Maine, and Rand Paul of Kentucky joined all 47 Democrats in voting against the bill. The vote followed an all-night debate in which Republicans grappled with the bill's price tag and its impact on the U.S. healthcare system. U.S. President Donald Trump urged Hamas on Tuesday to accept a 60-day ceasefire in Gaza, saying that Israel had agreed to finalize such a deal as the U.S. forces also stepped up operations in Gaza. Trump, in a post on social media, said that his representatives had met with Israeli officials about the raging conflict ahead of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's visit to Washington, scheduled for next week, in which Trump said he would be very firm. Trump said on Tuesday that he believed Netanyahu wanted to end the hostilities in Gaza. Trump also said that representatives of Qatar and Egypt, mediators in the conflict, would deliver this final proposal. In March, a previous ceasefire deal collapsed when Israel launched fresh strikes on Gaza. The previous ceasefire deal between Israel and Hamas, which started on January 19th, was set up to have 3 stages but did not make it past the first stage itself. French President Emmanuel Macron urged his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin to agree to a ceasefire in Ukraine in a first ever talk held between the two leaders since 2022. though the Russian leader blamed West for the conflict during the 2-hour-long telephonic conversation and said that any peace deal should be comprehensive and long-term and provide for the elimination of the root causes of the Ukrainian crisis and be based on new territorial realities. Putin also added that Western states had for many years ignored Russia's security interests and created an anti-Russian bridgehead in Ukraine. Other than Ukraine, the talks also focused on Iran, discussing Tehran's nuclear program, with Macron suggesting Moscow and Paris should work together to de-escalate the tensions. According to the statements, both the presidents agreed that the conflict over Iran's nuclear activities and other West Asian conflicts should be solved exclusively by diplomatic means and that the two leaders would continue contacts on this. Though the Kremlin said that Putin has emphasized on the lawful right of Tehran in developing a civil nuclear program. The Pentagon has halted some shipments of air defense missiles and other precision munitions to Ukraine over concerns that U.S. stockpiles are too low. The Pentagon's slowing of some weapons shipments promised to Kyiv under former President Joe Biden's administration occurred in recent days. Among the weapons that are being delayed are air defense inceptors that would help knock down inbound Russian drones and also missiles and other munitions. All weapons aid was briefly paused in February with a second longer pause in March. The Trump administration resumed sending the last of the aid approved under Biden. Russia, which already controls about a fifth of Ukraine, continues to advance gradually, gaining ground in recent weeks in Ukraine's southeastern regions of Donetsk and Dnipropetrovsk, and also ramping up air attacks nationwide. A quick look at other stories making it to the headlines from across the world. Hundreds of protesters clashed with police in Istanbul, demanding the release of Ekrem İmamoğlu, a detained mayor and presidential candidate. Riot police used pepper spray to disperse the crowd, and plainclothes officers detained some protesters. The opposition, Republican People's Party, likened İmamoğlu's detention to a coup, while the ruling AK party claimed the courts are independent. Five people died on Tuesday in Argentina due to a suspected carbon monoxide poisoning. The victims included 4 adults and a 4-year-old girl. The investigation is underway to confirm the cause, with initial reports suggesting a carbon monoxide leak from heating appliances as a polar cold wave has descended upon Argentina's capital. In a shocking discovery, Mexican police found 383 embalmed bodies stacked inside a private crematorium in Ciudad Juarez. The corpses, including 218 men and 149 women, were reportedly never cremated as promised to grieving families. Authorities say many relatives were likely given fake ashes. Prosecutors believe the operators neglected duties and mishandled human remains. 2 people have been arrested and investigations are underway. Australian airline Qantas is investigating a major cyber attack that exposed the personal data of up to 6 million customers. Hackers accessed a third-party system containing names, emails, phone numbers and birthdays, but no credit card or passport information. The airline says flight operations were not affected and has reported the breach to Australia's cyber security coordinator. You're watching DD India News Hour. Let's turn focus to sports now. India heads into the second test against England at Edgbaston with history stacked against them. 8 matches, 7 defeats and no wins. But under the young leadership of Shubman Gill, the team is looking to bounce back from a heartbreaking loss at Leeds. DD India's correspondent Narayan Singh brings us the preview of the second test match.
Sometimes in cricket, as in life, even a sky full of centuries can't chase away the storm of missed chances. Team India, under the young leadership of Shubman Gill, now stares at a mountain they have never climbed before. A test win at Edgbaston, a venue that has troubled Indian cricket for decades. India has played 8 test matches here at Edgbaston. 7 times they have walked away and defeated. Just once, way back in 1986, they managed a draw against the England side. A win, still a dream, but this team has turned dreams into reality before on multiple occasions. In the first test at Leeds, India made history, not the kind they wanted. 5 centuries, yes, 5, and still they lost. Never before a team after scoring that many hundreds ended up on the losing side. Dropped catches, especially 4 by Yashasvi Jaiswal, allowed this England team to claw their way back in the match. Also, there is a growing support for wrist spinner Kuldeep Yadav to come into the playing 11. But India's assistant coach Ryan Dashkote dropped strong hints that Nitish Kumar Reddy and Washington Sundar have good chance of making the cut in the team. But he added that technically Bumrah is available and the management haven't made a decision whether he is going to play or not in the second test match. It will be decided in the last minute. Talking about the England side, they are going in with an unchanged squad. That means no Jofra Archer. He remains out due to some family emergency despite returning to squad after 4 long years. Expect the Edgbaston surface to live up to its reputation, pace and bounce early, especially on day 1 and 2. If the sky remains overcast, the Duke's ball will dance. Seamers will rule the morning spells and top order batters will need nerves of steel to handle those sessions. Yes, the task is uphill. Yes, the venue has been unkind, but remember, fighting back is in India's DNA. We have seen it in Melbourne, at Lord's, and countless other times when the world counted India out.
All right, Narayan Singh joins us from New Delhi. Narayan, we've just seen your report, and it appears that India in Edgbaston has always been, in its performance in Edgbaston has always been jinxed. How do you see the day today? How does it begin under the leadership of Shubman Gill? Do we see any changes? Can we expect history to be rewritten?
Good morning, Preeti. If you take a look at this Indian team is going through a phase of transition, and India have lost 9 of their 8 test matches, and they have won only 1 test match in their out of their last 9 test matches. If we have to see such a record when India lost their 9 matches in a sequence, we have to go back a decade when India lost 9 test matches. It started from the 2014 Southampton and to 2015 in Galle. And that sequence, we can say, culminated in 2015 in Galle when India lost from an unlosable position. That test was in Galle. And after that, we saw India won next 2 matches and they won the series against Sri Lanka 2-1. And after that, we saw the India ruling the next decade of the test cricket. And the same position here. India in the last 9 matches, they lost only, they won only 1 test match, that is against Australia. And here, if you take a look, India lost their last test match in Headingley against England side. That was like any team can't lose that test match, but India lost that test match. So there are a lot of similarity between a sequence that happened a decade ago and this sequence. So we know that this Indian team has the potential, this leadership under the Shubman Gill has the potential, they can do, they have the capability, but I think they have to see what they did in the last match, what mistakes they did. They should just rectify those mistakes, and if they can do, they can definitely, I think they can win this match. And they should bring, as you mentioned about the changes, they should bring Kuldeep Yadav in the scheme of things, because after 1 or 2 days the pitch can give an assist to the spinners, and he has the wicket taking capabilities.
All right, so all hopes from the Indian team as it steps into the second test. Thank you so much, Narayan, for joining us with that analysis. And let's get to updates from Wimbledon 2025 now. World number 1 Yannick Sinner and 11th seed Australian Alex de Minaur registered easy wins to advance into the next round. World number 1 Sinner eased effortlessly into the second round, defeating fellow Italian Luca Nardi in a 6-4, 6-3, 6-0 victory on Tuesday. Returning to the Grand Slam stage For the first time since its epic French Open final defeat by Carlos Alcaraz, the 3-time major winner had a much less testing workout against world number 95 Nadi. Number 11 seed Australian Alex de Minaur edged past Spaniard Roberto Carboles Baena to move into the second round of Wimbledon on Tuesday. Defending champion Barbora Krejcikova advanced into the second round, but Jessica Pegula crashed out on Tuesday. Defending Wimbledon champion Barbora Krejcikova avoided a first-round upset with a hard-fought victory over promising youngster Alexandra Iala. The Czech had been an injury doubt coming into the tournament, but showed her experience to begin her title defense with a 3-6, 6-2, 6-1 win on centre court. Meanwhile, American Jessica Pegula suffered a shock Wimbledon exit. The third seed was beaten by world number 116, Italy's Elisabetta Cocciaretto in straight sets. That's it in this edition of DD India News Hour, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those of you on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. This app is available on both Android and iOS platforms, and you can download the respective QR codes. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Preeti Kaur signing off, and from all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India News Hour.